So today I am doing pinto beans with ham, and I'm going to can it up right after this. Hey garden maters, welcome to Corner Homestead. So I am back in the kitchen finally, and I'm getting ready to do a canning job. I love making sure that I have pinto beans and ham on my shelf for the winter. It's just something I've always enjoyed, and I like it simple with just the pinto beans, the ham, and onions. Serve it up with cornbread. Oh my word, is it good. So today, that is what I'm going to do. Now I've got a lot of pinto beans here that I've bought, and I'm just going to do 2 pounds of beans. I want to get started tonight because I have to soak the beans overnight. So I got out my 8-quart stock pot here. Just going to fill it with water, enough to cover the beans, a few inches above. And of course, just going to go ahead and soak my pinto beans overnight. Yes, you could do the quick soak method where you put them in the water and you boil them for so many minutes, turn it off, leave it sit for an hour, drain it, go through all that. I prefer to soak them overnight, mainly because I'm going to be canning these, and the USDA does suggest that you soak your beans overnight and then you make sure to cook them for at least 30 minutes before you can them. That way they will swell to as big as they're going to be, and they won't upset anything inside of your jars. So that's what I do. I always try to follow the USDA guidelines as best as I can. But tonight, we're going to get the beans in and get them soaking so that tomorrow I can make up the beans with the ham and the onions. Oh my word. And then can it up. So let's get soaking. So I filled my pot up just to about almost halfway filled. Rather have it a little overfilled than not filled enough. I'm going to take my beans and open them up. Just dump them on in. I'm going to put my lid on. Put this onto the stove, but it's just going to sit there for tonight. Want these beans to soften and swell up and do their thing overnight. So the only thing I bought that I'm going to be using, I just bought a big ham slice. I'm going to go ahead and cut this up and make sure that it's all ready to go for tomorrow, as well as the onions. I do have a little bit of ham left over in the refrigerator from a ham that I cooked last week. So I'm going to go ahead and use the rest of that, add it to the slice. And that way tomorrow's job will be so easy. Put everything back into the refrigerator, wait until tomorrow. Let me get prepping. And then all I do is sit and wait. Gotta wait for those beans. Okay, so I've got all the ham cut up inside the bowl. I did take off most of the fat, left just a little bit for flavor. Of course, took out the bone that was in the ham steak. Added the rest of the ham that I had in my refrigerator, which wasn't very much. So the bowl is about 3/4 of the way filled with ham, and then I added the 2 big diced up onions on top. I diced them in pretty good sized pieces because you know they're just going to cook up in the beans. So this will go into the refrigerator for tomorrow, and now all of my prep work is pretty much done. Let the beans soak, and I'll be back with you tomorrow. So it's next day, garden maters. Here I am again, and we are ready now to rinse our beans that have been sitting all night long. And then we're going to go ahead and get the pinto beans and ham made. And then we'll be ready to jar it up. So let's go ahead and get our beans drained and get them rinsed and back onto the stove so we can start getting them cooked. Okay, so you can see that the pot is almost half full of the beans now. So they've swelled quite a bit. I like to rinse them really well after I drain them. So we'll go ahead and do that. And then we'll be ready to start cooking them. Okay, so I have pulled out my bowl that I put into the refrigerator last night with my ham and onions in it. I'm going to put it into the pot with the beans. This is the only thing I put in for now. Now because these are going to process in the canner for 90 minutes, and you're supposed to cook the beans, which I usually do, at least 3 hours. So I'm going to cook them in the pot now for 90 minutes. Then I'm going to transfer them to the jars, and we're going to finish them off in the pressure canner for the other 90 minutes. Okay, so when it starts to come to a simmer, I will start timing it and we'll let it go for the full 90 minutes in the pot. In the meantime, while this is cooking, I'm going to get all my jars ready, get the canner set up, have everything ready to go, and of course, I got a little bit of cleanup to do. But we'll get everything ready, and when these are half done in their 90-minute time, we'll be all ready to jar them up. So I'll be back in about 60 to 90 minutes. Okay, so it has been 75 minutes, and I want you to see, I just turned it down. I gave it a taste, and it is absolutely delicious. So all this is the pinto beans, the ham, and the onions. I did add a very little bit of onion salt to it. And I also added some extra ham gravy that I had in the refrigerator. Wasn't much, just about a half a cup of gravy. So even though these need more time to cook, I'm going to go ahead and start getting them jarred up, get them into the pressure canner, because they're going to finish cooking in there. Okay, so I have the canner on the stove already. It's already on. The water is pretty warm. I have my jars, my clean jars. They're in the sink with very hot water in them. And of course, before you use your canner, make sure that you do your checks. Make sure that your seal is good with no cracks and that you can see through the vent hole. If the vent hole is blocked, you want to be sure to clear it before you use it. You don't want that to not be able to steam out. And of course, you want no cracks in your seal, because that can never be good. So let's get this canned up, get them into the canner, and we're going to start getting them done. Oh, they smell so good. Okay, so I'm going to start with these 4 jars. Like I said, they're not scalding, but they are pretty warm. Go ahead and fill them up. And this is my little spurtle tool. This is what I use all the time. You want to be sure to go in and debubble the jars. Just going to go down and around. Make sure all that air is out of those jars. Okay, so that was really good. I got 7 quarts. I am using quart jars. I think I forgot to say that. So 7 quarts exactly, because that was an 8-quart stock pot, but it was not filled all the way. So you're going to make sure to wipe all the rims now. Make sure they're very clean. I do have my vinegar on the towel because the ham, as you know, can be a little bit greasy. So you want to make sure to get the rims very clean. And I always go over them a couple times because I just want to be sure that I'm going to get a good seal. The canner is definitely ready to put it in. I have 1 jar with a regular mouth. Get my lids on. The rest are wide mouth. Now we'll go ahead and put on our beans. Finger tight only. Please do not over tighten. Finger tight is probably all you're going to be able to do anyway because they're so hot. Woo. Okay, into the canner they go. And go ahead and get my lid onto it. Wait for her to steam. She needs to blow her top after all. So it's been venting now for 10 minutes. I'll go ahead and put on my weight. So again, for my region, I only need 10 pounds of pressure. So I have a 10-pound weight. Yours may be different. If you need 15, so just set your weight accordingly. So we're going to put it on, wait for it to jiggle, and then we'll start our clock from there. "90 minutes on the clock." Okay, Garden Maters, so while she is jiggling, I want to tell you that you have to pressure can the beans in quart jars for 90 minutes. Now, if you're doing pint-sized jars, you would only need to do it for 75 minutes. And it doesn't matter if there's meat in with it or not. If you're doing just plain pinto beans, you would still follow those same process and times. You always want to be safe than sorry. Now, I've had quite a few Garden Maters send me a comment saying that they're having problems with their pressure canner, that they can't get the weight to jiggle, or they can't get it to come up to pressure. And they're asking me, you know, what they may be doing wrong because they are either have a new canner or they're first-time canners. So the only thing I can suggest is you definitely want to make sure that your seal is in great shape, no cracks or anything, because that will affect the pressure. And you don't even want to use your pressure canner if the seal is, you know, any cracks in it or not pristine. You would definitely want to replace that gasket before you ever use your pressure canner. You can't really give an exact time of how long it takes before the weight does start to rock, because it's going to depend on the size of your pressure canner, what size jars you have inside the pressure canner, and if the pressure canner is filled, if it's at the capacity with the jars, or if you're processing less jars. There's already been times I've put things in the canner and it's taken almost 30 minutes before the weight will start to rock. Right now, with these beans, it took 11 minutes from the time I put the weight on till the time it started doing this little jiggle. So it's about the only advice I can give you, is it's going to depend. Now, I would think if it doesn't come up to pressure within 35 minutes, there is something definitely wrong. It might just be time to buy a new pressure canner, or at least make sure that you check all those boxes to make sure that everything is okay with your canner before you use it. And if all else fails, contact the company that you bought your canner from. If it's Presto, I would contact them and ask them, hey, what's going on here? One other thing I forgot to tell you, all stoves are different as well. So after I put my weight on, I turn my flame up as high as I can. I put it up on high. When it starts to rock, lower it down. Works for me. All right, turn it off. Walk away. Okay, so as always, we wait for the pressure to come back down in the pot before you take the weight off. Make sure that pressure valve is down. Be safe. Once we're able to take the weight off, give it at least 10 more minutes, and then we'll take them out see how good they look. Oh. Okay, so the time has come and gone. I'm going to open the canner and I'm going to get the jars out. Look at that, garden maters. Oh my goodness, don't they look good? Always so nice when you have absolutely no seepage from your jars. That water is pristine clean. So there we have it, garden maters. 7 quarts of pinto beans and ham. Oh, and it smells so good. Even with the scent of the vinegar from the pot, you can still smell the beans. And they're already over there popping and sealing, and that's such a good thing to always hear. Music to a canner's ears. But I will definitely be doing more of these because I still have 2 more pounds of pinto beans that I haven't used yet. Just going to go get me another ham slice and I'll do it all again. Pinto beans, ham, cornbread. Oh, you couldn't ask for a better wintertime meal. So I hope this video encourages you to can some pinto beans. Whether you do it with or without the ham, they are always so good to have on the shelf. I also am going to do some chili. That will be an upcoming video. Not sure when I'll get it done, but that is on the list to do. Canned chili with kidney beans, and oh, it's going to be so good. So please do what you can to keep that pantry full. So if you decide to can pinto beans, please comment below. Let me know how you may change the recipe to your liking. Always depends on the individual's taste. So if you haven't already subscribed, please do. Love to have you as part of the community. Love to watch the garden maters grow. So until next time, I love y'all. Take care. God bless. And I'll see you on the next video. I lowered the flame so that it will still rock, but it won't be too high though. Blow it up. I know that doesn't sound right, but that's what I do. And I'm stooping. Boy, is it hard on the knees. Just needs to do this. You know how it goes. But now it will be quieter. When you hear this thing going for 90 minutes, oh my lordy, you need a little peace and quiet. Isn't it amazing? Let me show you how much mess I make when I can. Look how much mess I have to make when I can. I have to move things. It'll all be cleaned up soon. Okay. So now once again, I got a little bit of cleaning up to do.